Hello, you guys. I'm back, and we are here to talk about Miss Maya Angelou. So Maya Angelou lives with her grandmother, but her mother also would live with them as well. She was always kind of like back and forth between her mother and her grandmother, but her mother was active in her life. She was also a singer at their church. And they had a building, but the building was owned by white people, but they were the ones that ran the business. So it's pretty much like a family business. Her disabled uncle, her brother, her grandma, and her mom all would work in that building together, and it was owned by a white person. And so she talks a lot about her fear of white people, but also her hatred, and then also her just misunderstanding of them. Like, she didn't understand why people were so scared of them or why they were so threatening. Something it says here, "Then I would quietly but persistently punish myself." So she was very overly judgmental about herself when it came to her looks, when it just came to who she was. She was very self-conscious and always was questioning her worth. So it says here, "Until I was 13 and left Arkansas for good, the store was my favorite place to be." So they would always be at that store, and that was kind of where she felt like the most community in her environment, because they ran that store. So they used to have a sheriff. Sheriff, I believe, was white. He would use his nonchalantness to convey his authority. So he was very arrogant with his authority figure. They would always kind of tighten up whenever he would come around. It says, "Grandmother knelt praying in the darkened store. It was fortunate that the boys didn't ride into our yard that evening and insist that Mama open the store. They would have surely found Uncle Willie and just as surely lynched him." So they had a lot of fears in their neighborhood because a lot of people would get murdered. They would get killed for associating with white people. They would hear stories about black men getting killed because they were doing the do with white women. It wasn't a guarantee that that was actually the truth. Some white women would falsely accuse men of sleeping with them, and it would actually get them killed. It said, "All of childhood's unanswered questions must finally be passed back to the town and answered there. Heroes and boogeymen, values and dislikes are first encountered and labeled in the early environment. In later years, they change faces, places, and maybe races, tactics, intensities, and goals, but beneath those penetrable masks, they wear forever the stock cap faces of childhood." Mr. McElroy, who lived in the big rambling house next to the store, very tall and broad, was the only Negro I knew except for the school principal. So Mr. McElroy was like a powerful Negro within the community. It says, "He remained a mystery in my childhood." But her brother was her saving grace. So her brother was the one who really helped her feel safe and feel like things would be okay. So it says, "Bailey was the greatest person in my world. No sisters to share him with such a good fortune." So it was just her and her brother, and she felt like her and her brother were really close. She always felt insecure compared to him because it says, "My family was handsome to a point of pain," and she always felt like the ugly duckling. So people would make fun of her because of her looks, but then people would always compliment her brother, saying how good looking he was. And her brother would try to make her feel better. So it said, "Bailey would wink at me across the room, and I knew that it was a matter of time before he would take revenge." So he always defended her. He always stood up for her. So it made her feel confident to say certain things or do certain things when she felt it necessary, because he would be with her like, "I got you." It says, "In Follow the Leader, naturally, he was the one who created the most daring and interesting things to do." So her brother was always the one like, "Hey, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that," and she always had fear. She was always afraid of getting in trouble. She was always afraid of something happening, but her brother was the one like, "Don't worry about it, we good." It says, "But the pleasure fled when we reached the white part of town." So they had a big fear of being around white people because yes, her brother was daring and her brother was like, "Oh my gosh, let's do this, let's do that." But the minute they knew that they were getting into that white side of town, it was like, all right, we got to be careful. We don't want to get lynched. We don't want to get killed. We don't want to get falsely accused and then later be murdered and things like that. So they really had a lot of fear for themselves. Obviously, they're kids. They want to have fun, but they didn't want to get in trouble with the white folks. It was really hard for them to minimize that fear because the adults were also telling them, like, be careful about them white folks. We're gonna get into that later. We're gonna just stop right here so you guys know Maya Angelou, she was her brother's keeper. She loved her brother. Her mother was in her life, although she was raised by her grandmother. Also, we're gonna get into more things where she talks about other stuff I won't say. If you guys are interested in reading about Maya Angelou, go read her book, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. That is the name of the book, Maya Angelou's story. You guys be sure to check it out. It's still Women's History Month, and I just want to honor this amazing woman because Maya Angelou has inspired me, and I just want to share her story. A lot of people just know about her once she got her claim to fame and became famous and notable, but they don't know what actually got her into that position and how she grew up and, you know, some of the adversities that she dealt with. So if you're interested in learning more, go read the book for yourself because I may not be able to interpret it in the way that you might receive it if you read it, okay? So that's all for now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back and we're gonna talk more about Maya Angelou, and we're also gonna talk about how she felt about her mom overall because her mom was someone she did admire even though she lived with her grandma. So that's all. I will see you all in the next one. Mwah.